Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of Come On With The Games podcast, your official home for hip hop entertainment, local and world news. You hear me? And we're going to get right to it, man. In today's entertainment news, Will Smith. Yep, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. He's done it again. Will Smith, excuse me, stars in a new Geographic. Excuse me. He stars in a National Geographic documentary called Polar Pole. Pause. And I must say, ladies and gentlemen, it was very impressive. It was very informative. It was very enlightening, and it was definitely very adventurous. You know what I'm saying? And I would say that this documentary it really captures and reveals how much we don't know about this world. You know what I'm saying? However, I know that everybody is not into the seven wonders of the world. They're not into archaeology and what archaeologists do and what paleontologists and things of that nature. But when you team that up with Will Smith, man, let me tell you, you get a hell of a show. You heard me? And even though this documentary, like I said, reveals some of the greatest wonders of the world, even though it reveals different you know uh species, caves, oceans, and even civilizations, for that matter. One thing about it, and two things for sure, I don't think that we would enjoy this much if Will Smith wasn't a part of it. You know what I'm saying? One thing that I wanted to specifically mention about this documentary is that I think it was actually therapeutic for Will in some sense. You know what I'm saying? Because he definitely leaned into. He didn't shy away from. He always he's good at that. His publicist is is phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Because he's good at not shying away from the elephant in the room. He knows that the dark cloud and the stigmatism of what happened at the Oscars, still lingers over his head. And he's addressing it and he leans into it. You know what I'm saying? And as he leaned into the fact of what happened at the Oscars, believe it or not, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, you can definitely see that, just like it took a toll on Chris Rock, that is definitely taking a toll on Will Smith too. You know what I'm saying? And that I think it was definitely a traumatic experience for him. And you can see that, like I said, as he leans into what happened at the Oscars, on this new documentary. And you could definitely tell that he was traumatized as well. Now, I'm sure that Chris Rock wouldn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that Chris Rock wouldn't care how traumatized Will is. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying that that is one of the reasons. If you want to see that, you would definitely see how it still affects him and how that traumatic experience goes with him in every day of his life, even when he's going pole to pole. Pause. You heard me? And another thing I wanted to say about this documentary is that uh, Will is a master, or his publicist is a master and phenomenal at rebranding. You know what I'm saying? Because I enjoyed this, and even though he leaned into what happened at the Oscars, what I'm saying, I wasn't thinking about that one bit until he mentioned it. You know what I'm saying? That's something that didn't cross my mind. I was more amazed at the different caves and the different species and civilizations that we saw. But uh, because because of this marketing mind that I have, this publicist mind that I have as well. What I'm saying, Will is definitely. I can see that Will is definitely leveraging his celebrity. What I'm saying, and let me explain. Uh, we would be interested. You know what I'm saying? Some of us would be interested in and think it's cool and imperative and necessary and informative. That people collect this data on these expeditions that they have or these missions and adventures that they go on trying to collect this data. I think we can all agree that that is interesting. You know what I'm saying? And that the topics and things that they be having on National Geographic, it's very interesting. However, in this marketing mind of mine, in this publicist mind of mine, I can definitely see that the leveraging of Will Smith's celebrity is being used and facilitated to rebrand himself in this documentary, and I think it's a genius way to do it because, like I said, all these things are interesting. These species, caves, all this stuff is interesting, but how much more interesting would it be if Will Smith presented it to you? You know what I'm saying? How much more interesting would it be if what I'm saying he was the one who showed you how to milk a motherfucking tarantula because they on that bitch milking tarantulas and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure that, they have people out there that's just naturally, and inquired and inspired about the milking of a fucking tarantula. But a nigga like me, I ain't gonna fucking pay attention to that shit unless a nigga like Will Smith doing it. Do you see what I'm saying right here? You know what I'm saying? I think that it is definitely better, a better representation of it when Will Smith does it, and it makes it look cooler. You know what I'm saying? When Will Smith does it, than Joe Schmo that graduated from the school of whatever and has a PhD and a doctorate and whatever. You know what I'm saying? I would rather that guy tag along with Will or will tag along with that guy and show us how it's done. But man, that I know that's a mouthful, but it's a phenomenal documentary, man. And I advise everybody to check it out. It's called Polar Pole. You heard me, and it's a National Geographic documentary that stars Will Smith and that is narrated by Will Smith as he goes pole to pole, and you can catch that and find that on Hulu, ladies and gentlemen. Give it a round of applause for Will Smith. Yeah. Mhm. It was great. It was great. It was phenomenal. And I don't know, somebody please drop in the comments. What I mean, let me know. Does Will have a I know he has a Grammy. I know he has an Oscar now. But does he have a Tony and an Emmy? Because I could smell an Emmy or a Tony coming from this film. So we know he got two. You heard me? I'm just trying to see, does he have a Tony or Emmy? Please drop in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. But let me know, does Will have, any other one of those awards besides Oscar or a Grammy? I know he got that, but man, he got to be getting something from this, from this documentary because it was great. I found myself, not being able to turn the episode. You know how you be falling asleep on the shit and shit, you know what I'm saying? Even when I did fall, I ain't gonna lie, I did fall asleep because the nigga gotta get that guy you understand me? But however, when I woke up, and the next day I think I went to work or whatever, did what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? The next day I was on that shit. I wanted to really see what was happening, how was, the documentary gonna wrap up and conclude. You know what I'm saying? It was dope as shit. You know what I mean? Will did all kind of shit. He adventurous and very sporadic and uh fucking do a lot of shit that white people do. Let's just call a spade a spade. He love to do the shit that white people do. As a matter of fact, on there, man, he dived into one of those, you know what I'm saying, how they be having the ice in the water under the ice in the North Pole, you heard me? He dived into that shit, went under there, got stuck up under there, you heard me? And after he came out, you know what I'm saying, by the grace of God, he was like, yeah, that's my last time doing white people shit. You heard me? That was his words, not mine. You heard me? He was like, he gonna stick to what the brothers do. But we all know Will, man, you know what I'm saying? He's adventurous and he's definitely a out there kind of a guy, man. I'm glad he put himself out there to show the world what the world has to offer. Cause I'm damn sure ain't going to the North Pole. The North Pole just ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm more the type of nigga that, you know what I mean, slap the shit out of niggas like Chris Rock or something. You know what I'm saying? I'm more of that type of nigga than a nigga that's gonna go to the North Pole. You understand? But anyway, in more entertainment news, Oskino Sparks That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Eskino Sparks, formerly of the group State Property, who was signed to Rockefeller Records, he made an appearance on the Danza show. Excuse me, the Danza Project, which is a podcast. And he said something that made me wonder, ladies and gentlemen. And if you haven't seen it, go check out that episode of Danza Project that features Oskino Sparks, man. He's a fucking hilarious guy, man. He's a very serious guy too, man. He's been through a lot of shit. And you know what I'm saying? He's very intriguing to say the least. However, he brought up a question on there, so I just want to pose this question to my audience real quick, and please drop, you know what I mean, in the comments. Let me know. He said that if R. Kelly was out right now, and that if R. Kelly did a show, that show would be sold out, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's right. He said, I can't make this shit up. He said that if R. Kelly was out of jail right now and he was to put on a show, that show would be sold out. You heard me? So I need to please let me know in the comments. Drop in the comments. Is Oskino Sparks right? If R. Kelly was out right now and he threw a concert, man, if all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, he boom, bam, he get a teletype or something, and he out that thing, bam, I'm out. You heard me? A pardon or something. I don't know who gonna pardon him, but whoever. Whew. But anyway, if he was to get pardoned or something and do a show right now, would y'all go? Hmm? I need to know, man. I need to know. If R. Kelly right now did a show, would that motherfucker be sold out? I kind of think it would be. Call me crazy. And, this, and what else is gonna be crazy? Another thing that's gonna be crazy about that is that it's gotta be more packed with women than niggas. You know, ain't niggas ain't gonna go see R. Kelly like that, and if they is, they gonna take their girl. Yeah, they taking their girl. So wouldn't that be crazy? You know what I'm saying? Because you know it had to be not only women but men as well, but women that mainly put the campaign to put him in jail, and was a call for justice, to seek justice for these women. You know what I'm saying? It definitely came about, his case and all this you know, the Gayle King interview and all this came during the great push of the Me Too movement. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, with all the feminists that stood up and stood their ground and was standing on business for his you know, capture and for him to not be released, will those same women show up to the concert? Will they sing along? You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't mean by any means to make fun of any victim that suffered at the hands of R. Kelly. I'm just saying, are the people gonna give a shit about that if R. Kelly was out and did a concert? You heard me? Please let me know in the comments, man. Drop it. Would you go, or do you think that a R. Kelly concert would be packed if he was out of jail right now? Is Oskino Sparks right? I don't know, man. Y'all let me know. You heard me? But speaking of podcasts, while we're on the subject of podcasts, Tony Yayo and Uncle Murder, they made an appearance on Andrew Schultz's podcast, man. A podcast called Flagrant. If you haven't checked that out, check that out. And man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm here for this duo. You heard me? I ain't gonna lie. I'm here for this duo. It's just as good as a duo as Joe and Jada. You know what I'm saying? These dudes are hilarious, man. I like the fact that they keep it real. You know, New Orleans. I mean, New York niggas. They talk to each other like New Orleans niggas talk. You know, we real aggressive. You heard me? You might think we don't even like each other when we do talk to each other because of how we talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? But we really do. We really love each other. We really do fuck with each other. But we might say some shit like, "Bitch, you fucking stupid." Oh, you a dumb motherfucker, bitch. Some stupid shit like that. You heard me or whatever. We real aggressive. But anyway, back to the podcast. It was a great podcast. It was a great episode. Andrew Schultz is fucking hilarious. You know what I'm saying? His cast has a great sense of humor. You know what I mean? But there was this dude on there. I forgot his name. I wish I knew his name. But he was sitting on the right of Tony Yayo, man. And I felt like he was kind of fucking with Yayo when the episode first come on. Y'all got to watch this shit. Let me know in the comments after you watch this shit, or whether you feel like I feel. I feel like, or if you seen it, he was kind of trying to. If you pay attention, because Yayo got on his ass so bad towards the end of the podcast, calling him a glazer, how he be glazing Jay Z, dick riding Jay Z. He got on his ass so bad that you might not even pay attention to the fact that Water was fucking with him. You hear me? When you poke the bell, when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he did. Cause Uncle Murder, Tony Yayo got on his motherfucking ass so much so that when Uncle Murder came later in the podcast, because he was running a little late. You heard me? Uncle Murder sensed the tension in the air and was like, damn, what the fuck, y'all was arguing or something when I first came in here? But Tony Yago just had to let him know, nah, we wasn't arguing. We was having a friendly debate on how 50 Cent is a better motherfucking caliber of boss, of caliber of friend than Jay-Z. And in that, we was having a quick debate, a little quarrel. You heard me? And it was cool, man. I ain't gonna lie. He was getting Yayo was tearing that nigga ass up. You heard me? Pause. You heard me? But however, I think homie asked for it on the slick, man. I think homie asked for it. But nevertheless, I'm here for the real report. I can't wait till they drop an episode. You know what I'm saying? That would be Tony Yayo's and Uncle Murder's podcast that they, basically promoting and, doing a little promo run right now, letting people know it's coming. Pause. And I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. I'm here for that podcast. I ain't gonna lie. I'm interested in watching Andrew show shit now, only because, and that's another thing, right? You know what I mean? By being on each other's podcast, man, you bring audiences to in front of you that you normally wouldn't have. Because I don't normally, I like Charlamagne the Guy, but I wasn't into Andrew shows like that, you know, per se. I just wasn't aware of his comedic, intelligence. So, with that being said, I wasn't on him. Pause. But after watching Uncle Murder and Tony Yayo go on there, I'm gonna definitely start watching that. That podcast is called Flagrant. You heard me, and Uncle Murder and Tony Yayo got one coming up called, The Real Report. So I like that duo, just like I like Joe and Jada, just like I like Gilly and Wallow. However, there is one duo in this podcast ecosystem, in this podcast world, in this podcast universe. There is one duo that I feel is not talked about enough, man. Yeah, there's one duo that I feel that needs to be not only bigged up but celebrated and not tolerated. You know what I'm saying? It needs its flowers while they can smell them, and they trees while they can inhale them. And that podcast and those two and that duo is Gas and Mina from the No Rap Cap podcast. Man, give it a round of applause for them. You heard me? Yay. Yay. That's right, you know what I'm saying? New Orleans own, No Rap Cap podcast. That's hosted by Mr. Mina, one half of the legendary group, you heard me, Partners in Crime, and the homie Gas, you know what I'm saying? Representing the West Bank, representing New Orleans, representing the city, representing the state, like a real nigga supposed to. Give another round of applause for them, you hear me? And like I said, man, that's a duo in this podcast universe that I feel like it's not celebrated enough, man. And the people need to, if you don't know, now you know, no. You heard me? Check them out, man. No Rap Cap, man. They been on a fucking roll lately too. You heard me? With episodes with Charleston White, you know what I'm saying? Jim Jones, you know what I'm saying? Finesse 2 times. And you know what I'm saying? They motherfucking Jim Jones episode got recognized by the Breakfast Club. You heard me? And even mentioned on there, man. And so shout out for them, man. You know what I'm saying? And they actually, I ain't gonna tell you no fucking. This is no rap cap right here. You heard me? They the reason. A big part of the reason. I'm talking about like probably 95% of the reason I started doing this shit. That's right, nigga. You heard me right. You heard me. They like 95% of the reason I started doing this, man. Listening to them. You heard me, enjoying their podcast, enjoying their episodes, which are very I ain't gonna lie, informative. It gives you a POV that you normally probably wouldn't have if you was just to think about some shit yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it's also funny as fuck. And I found myself listening to them at the job, you know what I'm saying, commenting so much on everything that they had to say, like I was in the goddamn room. And that's when I realized, man, damn, I got some shit that I want to say too. I got some, opinions. Even though opinions are like assholes, everybody got one, and they 9 times out of 10 they all stink. I have mine. You heard me? You know what I'm saying? So, why not speak my mind? You heard me? Why not give the world the best that I got, and put my emotional intelligence and my intelligence real estate on display. You know what I'm saying? For people to pick up what I'm putting down. You understand me? Shout out to those guys, Gas and Mina, man. They on fire right now, man. I feel like they don't get talked about enough. You heard me? Shout out to them, and that's a duo to look for if you fucking looking for another duo. You understand me? Yeah, man. Round of applause to them. No Rap Cap podcast hosted by Mr. Mina and Gash. You heard me? Come on, every Tuesday and Thursday at 7, and of course, right here is where you need to be every Wednesday at 8. You understand me? But in today's world news, the Epstein files, ladies and gentlemen, that's right. The Epstein files are circulating. Say them motherfuckers, they're circulating. Got people running around here percolating. Yeah, they fucking percolating. That's right, man. 3 million, 3 million Epstein files, more Epstein files have been put out by the DOJ. And as they circulate, Bill Clinton say he wants all the smoke, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Bill Clinton, out of all people, says that he wants the Epstein files fully released. You know what I'm saying? Even all the redacted shit. He wants to play spades cards face up, ladies and gentlemen, and basically is prepared to comb through all of the details and almost as if he has nothing to hide, while simultaneously insinuating that Donald Trump does in fact have something to hide. And man, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Basically, man, he calling his bluff. You heard me? Let's go through it. But what he's saying is to do, you know what I mean, is let's go through it, in front of reporters while everybody is there. While Donald Trump, on the other hand, would rather do it behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? And what Bill Clinton had to say about that was who benefits from that. Yeah, man, the Democrats and Republicans playing all kind of games. You heard me? They playing all kind of games, man. Hold on, excuse me. You heard me? But you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You heard me? Because as we can see, not only Trump, excuse me, but Bill, not only name is all through the Epstein files, but his face is too. You know what I'm saying? And it really don't look good for neither one of those guys. So I don't know what type of games they're playing, but all this is in the midst of Ghislaine Maxwell, you know what I'm saying, the co-conspirator in this case with Jeffrey Epstein, you know what I'm saying? It's all in the midst of her being set to testify before Congress. You heard me, and this is crazy. I ain't gonna lie, this is real crazy. However, seeing as how the DOJ just granted access to Congress access to look at the 3 million files unredacted. You heard me. Uh, they gave them access recently. You know what I'm saying? And one thing that seems to have the internet in a frenzy about the files, and you know, is not only the names that's mentioned, but about the name that's not mentioned, and that name is Barack Obama. Yeah. That's right. The one name that we haven't seen, and that motherfucker is Barack Obama. You heard me? And I think it's crazy as it sounds, but is it crazy? I think President Trump paying attention to that too. I think he's seeing all the memes that saying Barack ain't in there. You heard me? So with that being said, to distract the people, I think this is just a theory. I think he definitely had a hand in putting out a post about former President Barack Obama and his wife that came out on his one of his pages. You heard me? It came out on his white on what was it? Uh uh it came out on I forgot what it was, but it's Donald Trump Truth or History page or something like that. And basically, you know what I'm saying, it had the face of former President Barack Obama and the First Lady Michelle Obama on the head of a gorilla. You know what I'm saying? On the head of a gorilla, and it had a very racist connotation to it. And not only is he not apologizing, he made an announcement that he would not apologize, and he didn't see nothing wrong with it, and he was making fun of everybody and not just them. And that was his excuse. However, he is facing backlash from his party. You heard me? He's facing backlash from the Republicans. You heard me? And excuse me, he's facing backlash from the Republicans, and actually Tim Scott, the highest ranking black Republican, you know what I'm saying, said that, this is very inappropriate, it's uncalled for, and it has no class or taste. And actually, the White House got the post taken down. You know what I'm saying? So kudos for them. You heard me? Because sometimes enough really is enough. Sometimes enough is enough. You heard me? And I know politics is a bunch of fun and games, but let's keep the bullshit to a minimum. You know what I'm saying? Especially when the country is in a state of needing attention right now, and that ain't the type of attention that we need. You know what I'm saying? The last thing that we want to throw in this shit show of America is racism. You know what I mean? The last thing we want to do is start a civil war, which it seems like Donald Trump has no problem in starting, especially if it distracts the American people from his name being in the Epstein files. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I brought it all back and brought it full circle because I believe all this is to distract you from his name being in the Epstein files. And I don't know what kind of play Bill Clinton is making by, saying that he won't go through everything, in front of reporters and everything because we all know his name and his pictures and emails are in the Epstein files. So, man, I can't wait to see how this shit play out. You heard me? hmm I can't wait to see how this shit play out.
Argue with your mom.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is my favorite segment right here. You heard me? This segment is called Argue with Your Mom. You heard me? That bit was icy. But anyway, like I said, this segment is called Argue with Your Mom. And in today's episode, in this segment of Argue with Your Mom, I dare to say, first let me explain how this goes, you heard me? Argue with Your Mom goes like this. I might say that, hey man, you know what, dog? That army smoke, that, what I'm saying, camouflage smoke, the military green with the camouflage smoke hat, that shit way colder than the black and red, homie. I don't care what you say. And I would say, argue with your mom. But that motherfucking military is way cooler than that goddamn red, white, and black. You understand me? So, you know what I mean? It goes like that. I hope I explained that right. If not, bitch, argue with your mom. However, argue with your mom. But they get us every time. Yeah, that's right. And who is they? I'm talking about Jay-Z, Roger Goodell, and the motherfucking NFL. They get us every time. They bait us in. They know just how to throw it out there and get a lot of motherfucking shit stirred up. You heard me around the halftime show, around what's gonna be going down, if this is gonna happen. I bet you that's gonna. Oh, excuse me. I bet you that's gonna happen. No, that ain't gonna happen. He wouldn't dare do that. Allow me to explain. Last year, what was the big question? What was the thing that everybody was worried about, or what it was, if it was gonna happen, or if it wasn't gonna happen? Don't worry, I'll tell you. They was worried about if Kendrick Lamar was gonna say the pedophile line in the song. You heard me? Say Drake, hey, you like I'm young. A minor. That's what it was. You heard me? It was A minor. Yeah, that's what it was. They was wondering if he was gonna say that, and everybody tuned in to see if he was gonna actually do it. Mm-hmm. He did it. Ladies and gentlemen, I be goddamn. Oh, I be goddamn if he. Yeah, what the fuck is in that? I don't know, but I'm gonna keep hitting it. He did it, ladies and gentlemen. He didn't fail us, and that's what we was all waiting to watch. You heard me? So argue with your mom, but Roger Goodell, Jay-Z in the NFL ain't doing nothing but running the same play from last year's playbook. You heard me? Because this year, they got you wondering the same way you was wondering if Kendrick Lamar last year was gonna say A minor. The same way if we was wondering if Kendrick was gonna say that, it's the same way they got y'all right now wondering if Bad Bunny is gonna say something political. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Argue with your mom. They running the same play from last year's playbook. You understand me? This year, the same play they ran last year with Kendrick Lamar to get y'all to watch the halftime and the halftime show in the Super Bowl is the same play they running this year. You heard me? To get you to watch the halftime Super Bowl show, and you're gonna watch. You heard me? That's right. You're gonna watch all those real political people. You know what I'm saying? Who don't want the great American game of football to be politicized and add politics into it. We just want to be entertained. Y'all gonna watch to see if he do that shit, and it's my bet that he's not. He's not. That's the only thing that's gonna happen this year that didn't happen last year. Kendrick did it, but Bad Bunny's not gonna do it. Mark my words. And I'm recording this episode right now on Sunday, and I'm gonna drop it Wednesday. That's after the Super Bowl. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Argue with your mom. They're running the same play from last year's playbook with the super halftime Super Bowl show. You heard me? They're running the same play, except the reason why they got y'all watching right now is to see if he gonna do something political. The same reason y'all was watching last year to see if Kendrick was gonna say A minor and argue with your mom. He's not gonna do it. He's just gonna entertain you. He's gonna put on a great fucking Super Bowl show, and I'm here for it. And I bet it's gonna be dope. And I bet it's gonna be something to talk about on the next episode of Come On With The Games, your official podcast for hip hop entertainment, local and world news. You heard me. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I see you in episode 13. Peace.